Meanwhile, one of the big unanswered questions, authorities are investigating whether there may be a link between the attack in New Orleans and the Tesla cybertruck explosion just outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. And that incident is now being investigated as a possible act of terrorism. We want to turn now to Andres Gutierrez in Las Vegas following this story for us. Andres, thanks for joining us. First off, why is this being investigated as a potential terror attack?
Well, good morning, Michael. At this point, there are several parallels between the attack that happened in New Orleans and the incident here in Las Vegas, specifically the timing of when it happened around the morning time on New Year's Day. Both the trucks that were involved were rented on the Turo app. The truck here was rented out of Colorado, and the head of the police department indicated that the Elon.
Welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussions show. It seems to me that we cannot catch a break. By far, we cannot catch a break. Just the other day, they was talking about fog vid. You know, and I did my research and come to find out, I'm going to do an extensive episode on that. That could have been something called smart dust. That's a whole nother insight. Now, the main event, Tesla Cybertruck blew up in front of Trump Hotel in Vegas. Now, first you see the news, you can't beat them. So now you gotta, since they so tight together, people gotta understand they are businessmen. They look like, oh, Elon look like he's telling Trump what to do. Trump look like he's listening to Elon. They're businessmen. They have their best interests. That's part of doing business with one another, especially if you're up there. You're coming with value, right? That's the first thing. But notice how the mainstream media and the legacy media, they try to paint the picture as if they are against one another. What they try to do, separating. Can somebody put conquer inside of the chat? They try to literally separate and conquer. So now they're going with the narrative, reverse psychology and reverse engineering to say that, hey, oh, no. Trump isn't the president. He didn't earn it. No. Elon Musk is the president. Trump is the vice president. Can someone say disrespectful? The man won. Y'all try to kill the man so many different times. It ain't work. Obviously, God's on his side. Obviously. So I guess no weapons should form against him. He also upgraded his armor with the Cybertruck. And this goes to show why the Cybertruck, though the Cybertruck don't even have a commercial. Have you ever seen a Tesla commercial? They running it up like Lamborghini. Let me repeat, they running it up like Lamborghini. So if you haven't seen these type of commercials and the first time you see a Tesla incident on the mainstream media, not only is it bulletproof, it's explosive proof. I got to get me one. It's the best armor truck that they got, obviously, just by how it's designed. They're saying that whatever explosive was in there and or whatever happened, they're going to try to say it was an electrical problem. No, it wasn't. Someone planted that. That's the first of all. Look how that thing went boom. I'm going to run it back. Look how that thing went kaboom. Not knowing that it's designed to hold all that pressure in. And it's also designed to keep all that pressure out. So it didn't even scratch anything on the Trump's glass doors. This goes to show. I guarantee you his stock got to go up by now. Make me want to get a Tesla tomorrow. If you're telling me these Cybertrucks are like that, hell, we're in cyberspace messing with him. All I'm saying is that pay attention to the narrative. Trump got X amount of days to get inaugurated. They try to stop him with that. Try to say that he can't get his certification to get inaugurated because Congress is doing something. They pulling it. Y'all got to remember, Biden and Camilla is still in office. So though they lost, they still working their voo. But why, though? Ask yourself that. Is this what America have come to? Have some class, people. If you lose, you lose. Don't be a sore loser or sorry loser. Now you're trying to behead someone. Is it that serious? Or y'all scared of the cleanup? Leave y'all thoughts down below. Let me know what y'all think. But let's run this video. Before we get this video on, make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. That's all I ask. Also, hit the AirTag EMF protector. You got to stop protecting yourself now on if explosives like this keep happening, but protect yourself against the harmful rays that you cannot see. Let me run this. Let me run this back from the beginning so y'all can see this explosive. What's going on in America? What's going on in the world?
Unanswered questions. Authorities are investigating whether there may be a link between the attack in New Orleans and the Tesla cybertruck explosion just outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. And that incident is now being investigated as a possible act of terrorism. We want to turn now to Andres Gutierrez in Las Vegas following this story for us. Andres, thanks for joining us. First off, why is this being investigated as a potential terror attack?
And that's another thing. Every time they say potential terror attack, same thing we did when we went overseas and tried to fight people that had nothing to do with anything. Is this them gearing up for another war? So now you got to blame somebody, maybe Pakistan or something that the United States want to go to war to get some type of, because war is profitable, so to get some type of benefit. All these proxy wars and all this and all that, that's all it's about. It's time for a change. You got Trump not trying to go to war, and what he's trying to do is actually, I call him Mr. Deal Maker. He got the best deals better than, he just got the best deal. Mr. Negotiator. He let them know, I'm the man in town. This is, I'd rather do this. I'd rather do business, but if we have to take it there, we're going to take it there. Which would you rather? Or you just rather somebody to say, just drop the bomb on them. It doesn't matter what they think. What's going on? Come on, you got to be very strategic. And to me, Trump is very strategic.
Well, good morning, Michael. At this point, there are several parallels between the attack that happened in New Orleans and the incident here in Las Vegas, specifically the timing of when it happened around the morning time on New Year's Day. Both the trucks that were involved were rented on the Turo app. The truck here was rented out of Colorado, and the head of the police department indicated that the Elon Musk was able to provide the law enforcement here a ton of information regarding the Cybertruck that allowed them to track it from Colorado to the time.
That's another thing. Y'all got to remember. All his vehicles have cameras in it. He probably solved the crime before them. All his vehicles have camera in it. Connectivity. This man is on to something.
Time it made it here to Las Vegas, which was around 7:30 yesterday morning local time. We're told that it spent about an hour going up and down the famed strip here in Las Vegas before eventually pulling into the valet area here at the Trump Hotel. It was there for about 15 to 20 seconds before it went off. The explosion, we're told, was contained by that Cybertruck. The structure of that vehicle helped contain the blast going upwards versus outwards. People inside the lobby described hearing the explosion, fireworks going off. In the back of the vehicle, police say that they did find gas containers as well as camp fuel canisters and those fireworks mortars. At this point, they are trying to figure out what exactly detonated all these materials.
Now, Andres, what do we know about the alleged perpetrator at this point?
Yes, the source is telling CBS News this morning that the truck was rented to a Matthew Livelsberg, who is a member of the U.S. Army. He was currently on leave. Two relatives did speak to CBS News, who said that they had no idea that he was involved in this incident, but they do know that he had
allegedly. Can someone say this is looking like an inside job? What's going on in the United States? Is it this serious? Is it this serious? Like, what's really going on here? It can't be this serious. Y'all trying so many different tactics and antics. Hell, I'm counting down these days. The 21st need to hurry up and get here. Y'all need to pray for Trump. Pray for Elon too. Y'all need to pray for Trump and pray for Elon too. Because there's no way they're trying to get rid of this man so bad. He's just a businessman. Y'all don't like him that much. It means you don't like yourself. America have so much hatred right now. Is that the vibe? But they say hate is love and love is hate. Can we talk about it? Let's discuss.
Recently rented a cybertruck. We're told that his wife hadn't heard from him in several days.
All right, Andres Gutierrez in Las Vegas.
All right, let's go on to the next screen. Let me know. Leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you really think about this one, because this one right here is ridiculous. The U.S. is under attack. God damn. We can't catch a break now, can we? Mentally, like, what's going on? Seems like we can't even make it through the winter. But leave your thoughts down below. Let me know if y'all can see the screen right here. It's coming on up. Can y'all see the screen? All right, now this one we're gonna go and talk about now. We're gonna talk about what's going on in Louisiana. They say that it might have something to do with one another, but we don't know that yet. That's all allegations, right? But what's going on in Louisiana? So y'all hit Vegas and y'all hit Louisiana. Y'all know that the Super Bowl is about to. I'm guessing that it was there, right? Or it's going to be there. I don't really watch sports, so I don't really know about that. But let's check this out. Leave your thoughts down below.
And tonight we are learning more about the Texas man accused of a suspected terror attack in New Orleans. Thank you for joining us on this difficult start to the new year. We know 14 victims and the suspect died, but dozens more are hospitalized tonight. A live look now at Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Normally it would be packed with tourists. Tonight it's empty as police have it shut down as a crime scene. Law enforcement obtaining disturbing surveillance video showing the suspect's rented pickup coming down Canal Street around 3:15 a.m. It went up onto a curb to get around a parked police car before crashing into pedestrians. President Biden says the suspect posted video on social media indicating he was inspired by the terror group ISIS. He has deployed the FBI, Homeland Security, National Counterintelligence, and more to get answers to what he calls a heinous act.
To all the families of those who are killed, to all those who are injured, to all the people of New Orleans who are grieving today, I want you to know I grieve with you. Our nation grieves with you. We're going to stand with you as you mourn and as you heal.
Right now, authorities are still swarmed around the suspect's home in Houston, searching for more evidence and a motive. Authorities say they're in contact with people who knew the suspect. Senior investigative reporter Tanya Iser is live in New Orleans. Tanya, we know you've also learned new information about Shamsuddin Jabbar. What can you tell us?
Well, we have heard so many things about him, and we're going to talk more about them in the story that's about to air. But as you can see behind me, there is a heavy police presence here in the French Quarter. It's relatively quiet down here as police continue to investigate and try to find all those who carried out this act of terrorism.
I need EMS to get down Bourbon now.
These were the first calls first responders made as the scene unfolded on Bourbon Street on New Year's Day.
We have dozens of people that got hit by this car.
Authorities identified the dead suspect as 42-year-old.
Was he sipping and swerving in his Suburban? Like what's going on here? I'm gonna play a TikTok because we gotta scroll on this one. I figured out that I like scrolling with y'all because all people do is scroll anyway. So we're gonna have a segment of the show where we just scroll and we talk about things. Short seconds to keep your attention, and we keep it moving. We're gonna scroll. Because I gotta get beyond the legacy media on this one, right? You know, we gotta listen with take it with a grain of salt with them. Like we already know, they're used to the lies and they're used to promoting the fears and all of that. And at the end of the day, right? I'm not promoting fear right here. What I'm doing is promoting awareness. We cannot control these actions. The only thing you can control is how you react. That's the only thing that you can honestly control, right? We cannot control someone else's action. We can only control how we react. So do your due diligence. People lost loved ones, XYZ, as a community, uplift them. Make sure that they're okay. Go check up on them. Spread the love. Y'all got to remember, this channel is positivity over negativity always. Always and forever. Let's continue.
Shamsuddin Jabbar.
This man was trying to run over as many people as he possibly could.
New Orleans Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick.
This man, this perpetrator, he fired on our officers from his vehicle when he crashed his vehicle.
Here's how bystanders described the scene.
You hear the screech of tires.
This bystander said he briefly lost sight of one of his friends.
And I turn and I look in the street, and her right leg is flipped like horror movie style over her back, and it's just blood.
Authorities found an ISIS flag on the back of the truck that Jabbar rented through a rideshare app. Inside, they found explosive devices. What? Authorities located other potential explosive devices planted in the French Quarter.
This is not just an act of terrorism. This is evil.
Police are looking for at least 4 other people thought to be involved.
Medieval.
Back in Texas, officials in Harris County searched a trailer house connected to Jabbar. I've also found that Jabbar grew up in Beaumont. He's shown here in these yearbook photos from Central High School.
I would have thought he'd been like a CEO or an entrepreneur.
Micah Roach graduated with him in 2001.
He was well respected, carried himself well, and I mean, you just wouldn't think that he would do something like this.
A family friend told our sister station in Beaumont he last saw him in early 2024.
This is not how we knew Shamsuddin. It's amazing. I'd love to get my hands on whoever influenced him.
In a YouTube video, Jabbar touted his real estate sales skills.
I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military.
He said he'd spent 10 years in the Army and human resources and IT.
I learned the meaning of great service.
How he went from how he described himself in that video to what happened on Bourbon Street is something we will continue to look into.
Well, it's pretty clear in the coming days we will find out a lot more about Jabbar and what led him to carry out this attack.
Right.
Tanya, before you leave us, we've also learned that Jabbar worked at the accounting firm Deloitte. What is the company saying tonight?
Well, they're saying that he was hired in 2021 in a staff level role. The company said in a statement that they are shocked at that he's been identified as a suspect. And they also said in a statement that, like everyone, we are outraged by this shameless and senseless act of violence. Back to you.
All right. Our thanks to you, Tanya Iser, live in New Orleans tonight. And now we turn to the victims. Some information is beginning to emerge about the lives lost, if their families feel comfortable sharing it. One was a mom, one was a dad, another just 18 years old. Teresa Woodard is in the newsroom with some of their stories, including a close tie to North Texas. Teresa?
Yeah, Cynthia, a TCU football player who just declared for the NFL draft lost his brother. Young kids lost their parents. Parents lost their kids, all because police say a man from Texas committed an act of terror.
Most every time the Horned Frogs took the field in 2024, in the stands was Tiger Besh. His brother Jack, a TCU wide receiver. Tiger had played for Princeton, then became a stockbroker in New York. Now 27, he went to New Orleans for the new year, was supposed to leave the city on Wednesday, but he died in a terror attack. So did Reggie Hunter, a 37-year-old.
Can we take a moment out? Just give a moment of silence. They need to be resting in paradise right now. Let's give a moment of silence. I wanted to pause for a second because it's just one thing after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. For I've never seen a movie like this. And the greatest movie that I've ever witnessed is called Life. They're drilling us with different things. It may trigger people. This right here may trigger people. God forbid. It may trigger people, though. Because how many lives have to be taken in order for us to understand that life is very important? We all are, as a collective, depend on one another. We need each other. We literally need each other. So what are we doing trying to take out one another? That don't make sense to me. Just pray for their families, man.
Old father of two from Baton Rouge. His cousin says 7 minutes after midnight, Reggie sent a Happy New Year text to the family group chat. About 3 hours into that new year, he was killed.
Why did you have to do this to not just him, to all of those victims? No one was looking for that to happen. No one deserved that to happen.
27-year-old Nicole Perez was also from Louisiana. Her boss told ABC she had a 4-year-old little boy, and she'd been teaching him to read. Cheyenne Dedeaux was just 18, only a few months out of high school and about to start nursing school. Her mom told ABC in a phone call, Cheyenne snuck away from their home in Gulfport, Mississippi to New Orleans against her mother's wishes.
Even if you're 18, even if you feel like you're grown, listen to your parents. If they tell you don't go nowhere, listen to them. It's a reason. If she would have listened to me, she wouldn't have been there.
A new year should begin with unbridled hope, not 2025. It begins with unspeakable hurt.
There was a prayer service for victim Tiger Besh tonight at a church in his hometown of Lafayette, Louisiana. Jack, his brother, the TCU student, tweeted earlier today, "You inspired me every day. Now you get to be with me in every moment. I got this family, T. Don't worry." Cynthia.
Our thanks to you, Teresa. At this hour, we were supposed to be seeing Georgia take on Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, but the tragedy forced a delay in the game until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That allows law enforcement to focus on the investigation and time to review security for the game.
This world, man. Now let's go on to the last part of it. Let's talk about this. First, I said I was going to go.
See that guy? That used to be me. Overweight, tired all the time, flabby and unfulfilled. So I got to work.
Don't be that guy. But let's go on to TikTok. Because y'all don't know what's going on in Puerto Rico too. That's another thing people not talking about. I don't know why the news media not talking about Puerto Rico. In fact, hold on, wait a minute. Let me put that in my Puerto Rico. Let me put that in my tag. Puerto Rico and power outages. Right? Let's talk about that because y'all know another thing they're not talking about too. See, we have to help one another out here. This is a healthy discussion show, right? Power outages. This is not to bring fear amongst anyone, right? This is never to bring fear. I only want to make sure that we are aware of these things, right? Let me stop sharing that screen. We can go now to TikTok. We can go now to TikTok. TikTok. Now, that's TikTok right there. But let's talk about these power outages in Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico. Can somebody say Puerto Rico in the chat? But let's talk about Puerto Rico. Now, something's going on in Puerto Rico where 98% of its people don't have power. This was why everyone was celebrating New Year's here, which is also another conversation. On the first, let's just say just January 1st, they experienced power outages. Something went off that disrupted a lot of different things. So we're going to view these things, right? We're going to view these things. And let's go. What in the world?
Oh my God.
This was in New Orleans, though, but this was in New Orleans. I apologize. This is not the Puerto Rico video, but I just wanted to bring that up there and just know that in the United States, we're about to have one of these cold fronts moving in. Y'all heard it on Healthy Discussions. Y'all about to have a cold front moving in that's going to be sub-zero. That's all I'm saying. They're expecting, make sure you have a backup generator, not to induce fear, but just make sure that you will prepare. You never know. Extra blankets, you just never know. Freezing weather, we're not used to that. We're not used to things being negative this and negative that. We're not used to it. So make sure that you're prepared. Let's go on to we're gonna scroll on TikTok and we're gonna view for a couple of minutes, right? We're gonna view all of the files that they have for this Louisiana thing. Let's do it. Let's run it back again. Is that
Oh my God.
New Orleans?
From the Window World Traffic Center. Quality windows, happy customers.
Congestion is now westbound due to an accident in the right lane at Boulevard leads back to Bullard. Also had be careful, they got down power lines. And east between Crowder and start recording. Oh my God.
From the Window World Traffic Center. Quality windows, happy customers.
Congestion is now westbound due to an accident in the right lane at Boulevard leads back to Bullard. Also had be careful, they got down power lines. And east between Crowder and start recording. Oh my God.
From the Window World Traffic Center.
Let's go to the next one.
Recording.
The subject has been identified as 42-year-old Samsud Dim Jabbar, a U.S.-born citizen from Texas. He was driving a Ford pickup truck, which appears to be rented, and we are working to confirm how the subject came in possession of this vehicle. An ISIS flag was located on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential
That might be corner
associations
camouflage.
and affiliations with terrorist organizations.
Pause. That might be corner camouflage. That ISIS flag, I don't believe in coincidence like that. Sometimes when they tell you to look left, whole time something going on the right. Leave them comments down below. Let me know what you think.
Last night, we had over 300 officers out here.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the intentional mindset of this perpetrator who went around our barricades in order to conduct this, he was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
The subject has been identified as 42-year-old Samsud Dim.
And we do have some surveillance footage that was taken by a nearby business that we want to show you. Look at this. You can see the white truck there that's in this footage. That is the truck that is allegedly tied to this mass casualty event in New Orleans. And look at the NOPD cruiser right there on your screen. The truck approaches that cruiser, turns around the NOPD cruiser onto Bourbon Street, and just hits the gas. And we do have some surveillance footage that was taken by a nearby business.
Scrolling.
Okay, so we now have a lot of new updates in regard to the terrorist attack that happened in New Orleans early this morning. And yes, I am calling it a terrorist attack now because the FBI has confirmed they are investigating it as a terror attack. Now, one of the things that we know is now the person who was driving that truck. And that individual was 42-year-old Shamsud Din Jabbar. Authorities are also investigating the truck itself, trying to determine if it even belonged to the suspect, which they said appears that probably not, that it could have been stolen, borrowed, or rented. They're also saying that the suspect was wearing body armor at the time of the attack. Now, the other things I can tell you at this moment are that the totals are as follows: 10 people dead, and now we have 36 people at least who are injured. There are also still, as we speak, as I record this, bodies still on Bourbon Street as they're still investigating that scene. On top of that, authorities are still sweeping the French Quarter looking for explosive devices. Apparently, they have found some man-made ones. Apparently, a couple have been detonated, it sounds like, by police because small explosions had been heard earlier this morning. Now, initially, there was a press conference scheduled for about 45 minutes ago, but they did delay that. So we are still waiting on that press conference to get more information. And once we have all that information, of course, I will be back on to update you guys with whatever that is. That being said, make sure to hit that follow button if you don't already. Drop your thoughts about all this in the comments, and this puts it out to the FYP and spread the word around. This is just an absolutely horrific way to start 2025.
Let's continue to scroll.
This is
Scroll
not
with
a
me.
terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found, and we are working on confirming if it's a viable device or not. This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now.
Scroll with me. Scroll with me.
The subject has been identified as 42-year-old.
We already seen that one. You know what I mean?
New Orleans, a driver in a pickup truck who officials said was hell-bent on carnage sped through a crowd of pedestrians in New Orleans' bustling French Quarter district, killing 10, injuring 30 in an accident.
Well, they just held the press conference, and ABC News confirmed that they were informed by the investigators that they saw several different people on surveillance cameras leaving explosive devices throughout Bourbon Street. This is how they were able to confirm that he was not acting alone.
Line out of the press conference was, of course, when the FBI special agent.
That part. So they trying to blame it on one person. Whole time, it was more than one. It's a group. Now, I wonder what group it is. They say that it's ISIS, but we can't just say that. We're good at playing the blame game, but we can't just say that. But let's run this one back. So it was just more than him.
And ABC.
As y'all notice in one of our other scrolls, right? Didn't y'all see? We didn't see anything running to anything like the car exploded, right? It was detonated. So these things was premeditated. Whoa. Run it back.
News confirmed that they were informed by the investigators that they saw several different people on surveillance cameras leaving explosive devices throughout Bourbon Street. This is how they were able to confirm that he was not acting alone.
Line out of the press conference was, of course, when the FBI special agent in charge said she did not believe the suspect was acting alone. Aaron, now you're learning a little bit more as to why.
They didn't say why at the press conference, but law enforcement sources told ABC News that a number of people are seen on surveillance camera planting what appear to be the explosive devices, potential explosive devices, in advance of the vehicle ramming attack. That gives authorities reason to believe that this suspect did not act alone. We don't know a precise number of individuals who were seen, but we're told multiple people were seen on surveillance images appearing to plant what could be explosive devices in advance of the attack. The priority now is identifying those people, tracking them down, and taking them into custody.
Well, they just held the press conference, and ABC News
Let's
confirmed
scroll.
that they were.
And now at 10, a massive investigation continues, stretching from New Orleans to Houston after that deadly ISIS-inspired attack while people were celebrating the start of the new year.
A U.S. Army veteran from Houston killed at least 14 people and injured dozens more when he drove onto a packed Bourbon Street. He later died in a shootout with police. Here is a live look at Bourbon Street in New Orleans, courtesy of EarthCam. This location would normally be loaded with tourists, but instead, now just a few members of law enforcement that you see there as the area remains blocked off due to the ongoing investigation.
Officials say the attacker drove around law enforcement to get onto Bourbon Street, less than a mile away from the Superdome, where the Sugar Bowl was supposed to take place tonight. The college football playoff game has since been pushed to tomorrow afternoon. The attacker has been identified as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S. Army veteran from Houston. He was killed during a shootout with police where he injured at least 2 officers. The FBI says Jabbar was carrying an ISIS flag, a long gun with a suppressor, a handgun, and at least 2 improvised explosive devices. Officials believe he did not act alone.
And we have team coverage for you tonight. And we begin with our Matt Doherty, who joins us live from New Orleans. Matt, what are you seeing out there?
Let's scroll because we already did the last coverage.
We're just hearing now from the Associated Press that investigators have reviewed video of 3 men and a woman placing explosives around, possible explosives around this area.
This is not at all surprising because I do think it would have taken multiple individuals to place the IEDs, plan on where that placement would be, as well as then obviously use the vehicle to ram this crowd. Look, I'm former law enforcement. I think law enforcement is actually doing an excellent job here, but it seems to me that there may not have been explosive sweeps that were done of the French Quarter and of Bourbon Street in particular as a result of securing this area, because part of me does wonder if that explosive would have been picked up by either a dog or a device. Again, I can't say for certain if that occurred, but part of me does wonder. There's no question they are now looking for these individuals and combing through particularly that digital evidence.
Let's scroll.
We're just hearing now from the Associated Press.
The police there say there may be multiple casualties, including deaths. This is amid reports a car plowed into people on Bourbon Street. If you've ever been to New Orleans, you'll know that this area is hugely popular with tourists. And of course, it is New Year, so a lot of tourists will have gone to New Orleans along with the local people. Now, it had been busy in the early hours of New Year's Day. You can see it's just after 5 o'clock in the morning and a huge police presence. Now, our US partner, CBS, their local reporter there said that witnesses told her that a truck crashed into a crowd on the street at high speed, and then the driver got out and started firing a weapon with police returning fire. Now, we can't confirm that at the moment. This is what witnesses have been telling CBS. The word from the New Orleans police spokesman said that initial reports show a car may have plowed into a group of people. The injuries are unknown, but there are reported fatalities. The police there say there may be multiple casualties, including deaths.
I wanted to do
FBI agents in Harris County.
One day into 2025, and there has already been a mass casualty terrorist attack. A driver has rammed his truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. 10 are dead and over 30 injured, including 2 officers. The suspect was armed with a handgun and a rifle, and once he crashed through the crowd, he was then killed in a shootout with police. This spot is a well-known area for gatherings for New Year's celebrations, and they were also preparing for the Sugar Bowl. Mayor LaToya Cantrell has labeled this a terrorist attack, and police are investigating possible explosives in the area. Despite barriers in this area to try to prevent this type of attack, construction in that area left it vulnerable. All they've released so far is that there was one suspected explosive device found at the scene. They said it was very intentional behavior and the driver was trying to run over as many people as possible. Once the car came to a stop, the driver got out and started opening fire on police and security in the area. Thankfully, police were able to act quickly and neutralize the target before he was able to kill or injure more people this way. This is absolutely heartbreaking and a horrific way to start the new year. My heart absolutely goes out to all of the victims. One day into 2025, and there has already been a mass casualty terrorist attack. A driver has rammed.
We are hearing from a witness who, heard and saw all of this unfold. Let's take a listen to what they had to say.
Around 3:15, we heard a pop, 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 pop sound, followed by a sound that sounded like fireworks going off, like a big firework all at once. And it turned out that was the crash. So that pulled us out of bed, peeked through the curtains to see, what was going on. And at that point, we saw cops all over the place, stacking up, rifles trained on the car. So, peeking through the windows, we kind of backed away to make sure that the situation was okay. Saw the cops telling people in the other buildings, like, stay inside, stay inside.
Yeah, that witness there describing what he thought initially were fireworks, only to find out, as we just heard from Aaron, that there were gunshots. I do have another witness on the phone. Jimmy, are you with us? Can you briefly just describe what you heard, what you saw? Take us through everything that you witnessed on Bourbon Street there.
So Bourbon Street, like he said, probably about 3:10 a.m. We were heading towards Canal, which is the way the truck was coming towards us. We ducked off into a nightclub because we weren't sure what was going on at the other end, and it looked like just nothing we wanted to see. So we just ducked off into a club. By the time we got in, 5 girls had ran in frantically and hid under chairs. So us knowing where we were, we ran upstairs to the balcony to make it less available if something was following inside. And what we witnessed was body after body mangled, just as far as you could see. We counted 10, and at least 6 were instantly, clearly deceased. And they were trying to get everybody just to stay inside, but everyone had just completely disappeared. Like, after these people ran over, I think we were the only ones outside on the balcony, and we took video just for the sheer shock. Like, you don't see stuff like that on city streets. Yeah. And just no one was helping them. Like, that was kind of the first crazy thought we had, is why is no one helping them? They wouldn't let us out. And obviously, like I told you, some were very clearly deceased, but others were yelling out. And it's a lot to process.
Yeah, and I can hear that shock in your voice. Obviously, this had to be horrific to witness. I mean, I imagine that you were there celebrating, with your friends, your loved ones, ringing in the new year, and then to see and to watch all of this unfold. What was going through your mind, Jimmy?
Shock. Like, it looked like something out of a movie, the way these bodies were mangled. And we had just seen this one girl outside dancing when we were walking up, and not to be too graphic, but she was flattened. Like, this was a full-size F-150 4x4, and this girl didn't even look human. And then another one had to be a mother. She was dead in front of us, right at my feet, just twisted, skull. I mean, I could just keep going. Another gentleman, he was for sure deceased. He actually had tire tracks over his stomach and back when they were trying to finally check on him. And another woman had got her legs pinned when he run her over. Half her body was on the street, half her body was on the curb. So she obviously was very broken, but still breathing at that moment.
Yeah.
These people are never going to wake up.
Yeah, pure shock.
That's crazy, man. Let's get off of this. Let's go to the next segment of the show. Leave your thoughts down below. Let's go to the next segment of the show. This is the last part, and we're going to read a little bit. And this one is about smart dust, right? In fact, we may not have to read because I like to do visuals. So let's find a video. They're going to talk about smart dust, right? Oh, that's on Instagram.
I'm going to show you in one take, no edits. Let's see. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How can I help?
Explain to me with a little bit of detail what smart dust is.
Wireless sensors, each as small as a grain of sand. These sensors can detect and measure environmental conditions such as temperature, light, vibration, or chemicals. They communicate wirelessly and can work together to gather and transmit data, often in real time. This makes them useful for applications in fields like environmental monitoring, industrial automation, and even military surveillance.
So if the military wanted to use this to collect data from civilians or anything they really wanted, they could do that?
Yes, the military could use smart dust for data collection, including surveillance. The technology's small size and wireless capabilities make it versatile for various applications, including monitoring environments discreetly. However, the use of such technology would be subject to legal and ethical considerations.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. So these dust particles that y'all see that's happening everywhere, right? These dust particles that's
So ever since we've had this fog show up all around the world, people have been experiencing some strange things. I'm going to tell you what I think it is. I have ChatGPT here.
Listen, we're going to run it
I'm going
back
to show
again.
you in one take, no edits. Let's see. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How can I help?
Explain to me with a little bit of detail what smart dust is.
Listen.
Smart dust consists of tiny wireless sensors, each as small as a grain of sand. These sensors can detect and measure environmental conditions such as temperature, light, vibration, or chemicals. They communicate wirelessly and can work together to gather and transmit data, often in real time. This makes them useful for applications in fields like environmental monitoring, industrial automation, and even military surveillance.
So if the military wanted to use this to collect data from civilians or anything they really wanted, they could do that?
Yes, the military could use smart dust for data collection, including surveillance. The technology's small size and wireless capabilities make it versatile for various applications, including monitoring environments discreetly. However, the use of such technology would be subject to legal and ethical considerations.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So y'all heard it. Y'all heard what these particles is, this fog that keep on coming up in London, Texas, Georgia, different places. People are reporting on it. I did a video. Go check that video out when you get a chance. About, I called it, it's titled What in the Fog. It's titled What in the Fog. So someone sent me that and I said, you know what, let's cover it, because I never heard about smart dust and I had to do my research, right? And people and we're not going to act like it's not an agenda. Like, for instance, Bill Gates still want to block the sun. There's still chemtrails in the sky. Florida just did a bill stating that y'all can't do chemtrails in Florida. So if it's a bill coming from the state saying that these things are real, then I don't want to hear these people telling me that these things aren't real. I don't want to hear it, because you can go look it up yourself. It's legal documents. It's documented. So go look it up yourself, right? I just led you to the water. Florida just told them you cannot fly chemtrails above our sky to then and or control the weather anymore. So the question would then be, how long have they been doing this? Ask yourself. And shouldn't you get your state involved? What do you plan on doing? How about you call your governor? Let them know we're not for it. If you don't make this change and you don't come and shake the room up, we ain't voting for you. Sayonara. You're not going to be back in office. That's the only time they listen. You're not going to get our vote. Sorry. You're not doing what we want you to do. Our tax dollars, in fact, is what's paying you. So you should have our best interest. Can we talk about it? I just want to talk about it. Another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. Smash that like button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This is the beginning. This is not the end. Right? Remember, positivity over negativity always. And remember, We're spreading awareness. We're not spreading fear, right? We're never spreading fear. We're spreading awareness. On that note, peace, blessings, and love.